Good afternoon, Stampers. It's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and it's Wednesday, so that means it's Facebook Live. And today I'm bringing you 3 projects featuring Pretty Kitty from the annual catalog. This is the stamp set, and it's so adorable. Has lots of great greetings on there. And these are the projects we're going to be making today. I want to say just up front, thank you so much for taking time to watch my video today and watch the demonstration of these 3 projects. And give me just a minute while I get set up over on my group here. All right, I think we're all set. Just gonna reorganize here just a minute, and we'll wait just a couple minutes to see if anybody else is gonna join us, so we'll just go ahead and get going. All right, so this stamp set, Pretty Kitty, is in the current annual catalog, the 2018-2019 catalog. It is going to be retired, sadly, for the new catalog. So if this is a stamp set that you don't have, that you want to get, be sure and place an order and get it right away, because you don't want to wait till the last minute and not be able to get it for sure. So today I'm going to demonstrate just a few projects, and I'm going to try to go back to the simple and kind of medium and a little over the top kind of thing, so that you know, we can have an idea of what the stamp set can really do without, you know, if we don't have a long time to make a card. But this is the stamp set we really want to use, and we can still make something really cute. So let's get started. This is the one that I'm going to make first. So if you'll just give me a minute to get all the pieces around here. Okay, what you're going to need for this card is a piece of Whisper White for the card base. Cut it 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I am also using they're called 6x6 Designer Series paper stacks, and I'm going to just show them to you real quickly. So this one is the subtles, and it comes in all of the subtle colors. So for every subtle color family, you're going to have 2 sheets of this polka dot with the stripes on the back, and then this polka dot with a stripe on the back. And these are available in every one of the color groups. So if you like to use designer paper, but you like a variety, this is a good way to go. I believe these stacks are just $11, so there are 40 sheets in each pack, so it's a good way to get a good variety in your crafting. So this piece here is out of that 6x6 stack. This is Pear Pizzazz, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then this is the back side of this piece, and this is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches. And I had this piece left over, so I thought that I would use it for the inside of the card. And this one is 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. So we'll just stick that in the inside to decorate it up a little bit. All right, let me get my stamps. And then we're going to be using just a couple of the Stampin' Blends markers. As you can see, I didn't color in the cats. If you wanted to, you could, but I think that it looks really cute without them. I think I forgot this piece here. This piece is Whisper White, and it's measured at 3 by 4. So we're going to start by folding our card base in half. Let me get my bone folder. And because we're not attaching any ribbon or anything to this piece, we can go ahead and attach this piece right to the front of our card. I only missed 1 week, but it feels like I've been gone forever. I was hustling around trying to get ready for my live today, thinking I totally forgot how to do them. It was the craziest thing. Okay, we can go ahead and put this piece on now. I've had a very hectic week. I'm not sure if I told you all before I left, but we went to Florida to check on the job that my husband was doing, and then if you saw, there were storms there. We got stuck in the airport for several hours because the flight was delayed, and we finally decided we were going to leave because we didn't want to keep waiting around. So we couldn't get back home until Easter Sunday. So I was a little sad about that because I wanted to get home to spend Easter with my kids, because I haven't been home with them for several years. But we're going to do Easter this Sunday, and I'm trying to make light of it, and we'll get half price Easter candy. So I did go ahead and put some adhesive on this piece. I'm just going to put that there on the bottom just to dress up the inside a little bit. And now we're ready for this piece. We're going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It did give us another couple days of sunshine in Florida, but it just was kind of sad to not be home and see my new little granddaughter in her new Easter dress. But I told my daughter to put her in it this weekend so I can see her in it again. All right, for this one, I'm going to use the same greeting. A friend like you comes along once in 9 lives, and I'm going to pull this back a little, trying to, hopefully I'll get it straight. It's pretty straight. Okay, and as I mentioned, I'm going to use a couple blends. I'm going to use my light Flirty Flamingo to color in the ears and their little nose. Be sure to let us know where you're watching from today. That's always exciting to know where everyone's watching from. This one here, I'm using Highland Heather. Listen a minute. Yeah, Highland Heather. I always get confused if it's Gorgeous Grape. Highland Heather in the light. And then this one is Lovely Lipstick in light. So I just wanted to give my cats 2 different color bows. And you could do this with your Stampin' Write markers as well. So again, if you wanted to color in your cats, you could do that at this point. I'm just trying to keep it a little bit simple to show you that cards don't have to be difficult and have a lot of coloring and a lot of layers. I did try to make this just on white, and it seemed a little too plain, so that's why I did add this color background. But again, you could use any color background that you choose, because I know we all have a lot of designer paper. And if you say you don't, you're lying, because we do. We hoard it. Why do we hoard it? Saving it for a special day, a special occasion. But I say every day is a special occasion, so I've really tried to start using mine. Because I'm like you guys. I like to, well, I don't know you specifically, but I like to hoard my designer paper, and then I get to an end of a catalog. And for me as a demonstrator, I don't hold on to product that has retired, so then I have to get rid of it. And every year I swear I'm going to use this all up. So I've really been making a goal to use my designer paper. So that is project number 1. What do you think? Do you like it? Does it look like a card that you might send out to someone? I can think of a couple people that I would like to send that to. Okay, so we're going to move on to this card for card number 2, and give me just a minute. And I am going to put my host code out here. If you've been with me before, you know that if you place at least a $30 order, I will send you the Make and Take kit for these 3 projects. And all you need to do is go to my online store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net and use this host code, and I'll know that you've placed an order, and I will get the Make and Take kit out to you. So if you have not joined me before, the Make and Take kit is all of the paper products. I cannot stamp the images per Stampin' Up! Policy. So if you didn't have these images, you could surely use something else to replace it. Or if you were to purchase the stamp set, then you could use this stamp set, or if you have it. So give me a minute. There's the host code. I'll grab my supplies for this project. Okay, so again, this one's a little simple, just a little more coloring. We are using So Saffron, and again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have another piece of that 6 by 6 designer series stack, and this one is in So Saffron, and this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I also have this stitched framelits, and this is the largest circle. And then I use the layering circles, and this is the largest scallop circle. And then one other thing that I did do is this little butterfly is from the Butterfly Stamp Set and Punch, and the name is escaping me right now, but this is from that collection. So I just thought with the flowers and the cat, the butterfly looked really cute on there. Okay, I'm going to set this aside, and I want to talk to you just for a minute about the Stamparatus. Now, I keep forgetting to use the Stamparatus because with me, old habits die hard. I still have been using my Stampin' Jig, and then I realized that it actually retired, so I had to put it away finally. But the Stamparatus is a wonderful tool, and I'm going to be doing a little more training on it. It's a tool to help you stamp evenly, and if you're making multiple cards of the same, it's a really good tool. It comes with 2 plates, and they're removable like this. They do have grid lines on them, so it's easy to line up your stamps. And so one plate would go here, and one would go here. So if you had some words, like for this card, actually, I could have stamped the cat too. So I could put the cats over on this plate and bring it over and stamp it, and then the words on this plate and bring it over and stamp it. But I'm going to be using it for this card, and it does come with magnets, but I'm going to use this little piece of washi tape. And so my stamps, let me bring it down here, my stamps are right here. If you have this, or if you're considering this purchase, please remember, I'll turn it over real quick. I'm going to take this off because I want you to be able to see. The magnets in this are very, very, very strong. One is here and one is here. That's the storage for them. If they get together, there's a very strong magnetic force, and they will go together really quickly, and you could pinch your finger very badly. So that's one of the reasons that I kind of just leave mine over here. I'm seeing some people use just one of them. I think that I need to use it more to get used to it. But for now, I'm just using the washi tape. And, whoops, I'm going to put my piece of paper in here, and I know where it was lined up from earlier. And then all I need to do is stamp my inked images and bring it down and stamp. Now the good thing about this is if you happen to miss a piece, so that this stamped perfectly, but let's say I was stamping the buffalo check that has a lot of ink on the surface of the stamp, and sometimes you need to re-stamp that, or you realize that a part got really light. You could put your stamp up here and just keep inking it up and stamping it until you get the desired darkness for your stamp. So that's a great thing about the Stamparatus. And so this piece is all set. And I'll bring back the other supplies here so we can get started assembling. Now I did use a couple extra markers this time. I wanted to color the flower pot in, and I did want to color my cat in this time, and the butterfly. So I'm going to put those supplies aside. I'm going to get a little piece of scrap paper here, and then we can go ahead and stamp our cat and get started coloring. Again, I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to stamp it on my stitched circle there. The stitching just gives it a little more dimension, I think. It looks a little fancier. And so we don't have to do anything else to this piece, but I'm going to let that dry just a minute. And I'm going to use my white weave, classic white weave ribbon. And I'm gonna go ahead while that's drying and just make a bow. And this is my cheater bow. Sometimes bows don't lay really flat, so I find that this is a good way to get them to lay flat. So we're just gonna cut a piece of ribbon that's a little bit longer. I put some adhesive right here on the edge. I'm gonna wrap it over so it catches in there. So now you can see it's good to go. I think I will actually go ahead, fold my card base in half. And then we can attach this piece. And you do want to put some adhesive around that piece of ribbon that you tied there, just to make sure that it secures really well to the card base. And that piece is attached down. We'll tie this bow in just a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm gonna color my butterfly before I lose it. I'm coloring that one in Lovely Lipstick, the light. And the great thing about these blends markers, you see me coloring with them a lot, but I don't know if you also realize that they're called Stampin' Blends, very similar to Copic markers. And you can blend more than just, like, this is light and dark Daffodil Delight, and you can blend more than just the colors that coordinate. You could use another color. So right here, I'm giving the side of the flower pot just a little bit of shading, because if the sun were shining down, that part would be a little dark. And I'm not going to shade the whole card, I just kind of wanted to show you. So I like to start with the dark, and then I take the light and I just bring that edge out by going in a circle. And then the rest of it you can just color. Oops, looks like my black was not quite dry. I'm not sure why, but I got a little smudge there. But you can see, I'll show you this one up close. So you can see how it's a little bit darker on that side. So you're just gonna take the lighter edge and kind of, I'm sorry, the smaller edge. I don't do mine with the bigger one, but I kind of take the smaller point, not the brush tip, and kind of just circle around until it blends into the other side. And I'm not super happy that that smudged a little. It shouldn't have smudged like that. But let's keep going. I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green for all of the leaves. And then I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo again for inside of the ear and for the nose. And then I'm going to use Light Crumb Cake for my kitty. Could you guys do me a favor? If anyone is on, could you please leave a comment? Because I'm not seeing any comments coming in. And oh, there we go. I guess I just needed to do something. I don't know what I did, but now I can see them. Okay. I just wanted to make sure someone was really out there and that I wasn't talking to myself today. All right, so this one I'm using the light Highland Heather. And thank you all for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. And this again is the light Lovely Lipstick. It's a nice bright pink. Kind of reminds me of Melon Mambo, just a little bit brighter. Whoops, I just realized I forgot my cat's tail to color in, so go back and color that in. Also, another tip when using the blends, I'll do it to my cat's tail. So if you want somewhere between what is considered the dark and the light, if you just go back over it, you can see that the cat's tail is a little bit darker than his face because that I only colored through one time, but on the tail I colored a couple times, so it will darken it up a little bit. All right, and I'm going to use my light daffodil one more time on these flowers, and then we'll be all done coloring. So now we're ready to take this piece and adhere it to the largest scalloped circle that I cut in basic black, and attach that right on the front. Now I do want to put a couple dimensionals on here, and I want to make sure that the dimensionals are at the top and the bottom so that they'll span the ribbon. And then, whoops, this is where we'll cut another little piece of ribbon to finish tying our knot. So we just need a small piece here. And we're going to loop it through. And just kind of cinch it down very carefully. And then I like to cut the edges off to leave an little angled edge so it looks pretty. And then the only other thing we need to do is add this butterfly, and I'm going to take a glue dot and attach the butterfly here. Now I'm going to lift the wings up just a little bit so it kind of looks like the butterfly's in flight. And there we go, card number 2. So what do you think? You like this one? I kind of really like this one. So Saffron is one that I sometimes forget about using, but I really do like it a lot. So there is card number 2. I'll bring back the hose code for just a minute while I grab my other supplies for the last card. Now this one this is my all out card. Now it doesn't have a ton of layers, but it does have several products in it that I've used, and I'll walk you through that and let you know exactly what I've used. Except one thing I need to just look up really quickly because there's a punch in the occasions catalog and I always forget its name. Okay, this is what we need for this card here. We are going to use a piece of Highland Heather cut at 8.5. Today I guess I was just making them all the same size, 8.5 by 5.5. We're using a piece of Whisper White cut at 4 by 5.25, and I did already run it through the Polka Dot Basics embossing folder. This is that. It's one of my favorites. You probably see me use it a lot. Now I have this piece of 4 by 5.25 to put on the inside. This one is in Lemon Lime Twist, and it is run through the stitched rectangles framelits. And then I have a Whisper White cut through the stitched rectangle framelits as well. That is the centerpiece of that, just in white instead. And then this is again one of the pieces of the 6x6 Subtles Designer Series paper stack, and this is 1.25 by 4 inches. And then I have a little piece of Whisper White cut at 2.25 inches by 3/4 inch. And then I just have a little scrap of Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm going to punch some of my flowers out of this piece here. I think the first thing we'll do is go ahead and fold our card base in half. Use our bone folder to burnish the edge. And because we're not adding any ribbon, we can go ahead and add this to the front. This is the piece with the polka dots. And then we'll go ahead and add this piece of designer paper. Now you could use the stripes or the polka dots. I'm a polka dot person, so I'm going to do the polka dots, and I'm going to put that right. It's like I didn't quite get it to the edge. There we go. Okay, so now we need to do some of our stamping. this is our piece for the inside. This is our little cat. So let me grab the cat. And again, I'm going to use the Tuxedo ink because I'm using the Stampin' Blends markers. And there's that little cat there. Now we could stamp another little cat on the inside, and I think I will. I'll just stamp this little cat, boom, with this tail sticking up. I don't think I'll color her in a lot, but I can at least color her bow. So this cat I actually colored in gray. And I'm just going to color her ear and her nose in the light flirty flamingo, and I did color the butterfly. And then I'm going to color a couple of the flowers inside with the same. Of course, the leaves I'm going to color in the Granny Apple Green, light. And then the Highland Heather, again, I'll color these little flowers. And I think I'm going to color the bow on this little cat also in the Highland Heather. Going to use a little bit more of the Daffodil Delight for a couple of the flowers here. And then I'll make one of the flowers the Lovely Lipstick, just to give a little pop of color there. And we could just leave our cat without coloring her at all, but I think I'm going to go ahead and color her. So I like what she looks like in the gray, but it does look really cute. Just leaving her white as well. And I just realized that I forgot to color her bow, so I'll have to go back and do that real quick. You've probably heard me say bunches of times, I like these markers so much because they leave a real smooth finish on your colored image. You probably remember when you were a kid coloring with crayons and you had to color over and over, and markers too, just to kind of smooth out the edges. And that's what I like about these blends markers, that you can just color and it leaves a real smooth finish. So I am going to go back and color her bow purple just because it matches the Highland Heather. It matches the purple of the card. And that part is all done. I'll go ahead and put this piece here on the inside. And I don't always put another piece of cardstock in the inside, but I think it does finish up the card. It depends on the color of the card too. So I think that's a big factor for me. So now when we put this little cat here on, we want to make sure that it's going to fit straight inside of this frame. And so I kind of like to look at it. We're going to attach this one with just our regular adhesive, snail or liquid adhesive. So I'm going to put that one in there and kind of not push it down real hard. I want to make sure that it's straight before I put it on there. We do need to do some stamping on this one. I think I'll do just peeking in to say hello. Well, that's really crooked. I'm going to pull it off camera and hopefully I can get it straight this time. So hopefully while I'm putting this together, I'll just chit chat just a little bit. Hopefully you are all having a great Wednesday. As I said, we came in Sunday. It's kind of been a whirlwind. I babysat my granddaughter on Monday and I got my hair done yesterday. And then I'm babysitting my granddaughter again today, so I had to create and do some of my business stuff in between her naps, and that was quite a trick. Babies don't sleep when you want them to. Okay, so I cut this on this 3/4 inch by 2 1/4 inch. I put a banner on the end and I just put it flat on the card. What I'm going to give dimension to is this frame here. And I'm using the outer edge of my dimensionals because it seems to fit pretty perfectly there. I'm going to see if I have another piece I can use. That way I don't have to cut the other ones into thinner strips. I can just use these right along the edge because they seem to fit perfectly. And I'm going to put them around the corner just to make sure that we don't have any pushing in of the card. Looks good. And then we just need to take the backing off. This frame being up just gives a little more dimension to the card, I think. If you didn't have the framelets and you don't want to get the framelets, you could just put this on a square piece and then put the other, or a rectangle, I mean, and then put the other rectangle right over it. So there's that piece, and I know it's really hard to see on camera. You can't see the dimensionals really unless you're looking under there, but it just gives it a little more dimension. So the next thing, the last thing we need to do is these punches right here are part of the Bitty Blooms punch pack. It's here in the catalog, and I like to use them just for little fillers. And this one here, I'm going to punch 3 of the flowers out of the designer paper, just so it matches the other side of the card. And then this piece here, this is a flower centerpiece and this is a leaf. And I'm just going to cut a couple leaves. Apparently I'm going to cut a couple of centerpieces too because they're really close together there. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and use my multi-purpose adhesive, and I'm just going to put a couple little dots of it and then put my flowers. And then I did want a couple leaves just kind of popping out. Oh, those want to pop up there. So I think I'll put one here, maybe one here, and one over here. They're kind of small, so maybe tweezers would be good for that. Or the piercing tool might let you get those. And then the last thing that I want to do is, of course, add some shiny rhinestones to the center of the flowers. And there we go. So before we leave, I just want to remind you that of a couple things. So again, use the host code. Here are the cards, the projects we made. Here's the host code if you want to order. And so while you're checking those out, I just want to remind you to check out the clearance rack because it did recently update and they put some new items in there, and there's up to 60% on some of the items. So there might be something that you want, so be sure and check it out. Also, check out our last chance products. Most of these all of these products on this list are going to be discontinued when the new catalog comes out. Now, if you happen to see the list, there are 2 lists, and I did post them in my Stamp It with Debbie group or my page. But some of the stamp sets look like they're being discontinued, but they're actually just changing over to the cling mount stamps. So if you have any questions about whether a stamp is actually retiring, leave me a little message. You can send me through Facebook Messenger or leave a comment underneath this video or something if you need to know if a certain stamp set is retiring. If you've been around long, you know the stamp set Lovely as a Tree that unfortunately is retiring. And it's been around a really long time. I think it's probably one of the original ones that they had in the wood mount, and they just needed to make room for some new awesome products for us, and can't wait to show you the new catalog in June when it comes out. So again, if you have any questions about anything about the new catalog or any of the retiring product, please feel free to contact me directly. I hope that you loved today's projects. This stamp set again is retiring if you came into the live late, and so you'll want to get it before it's gone. I appreciate you spending this afternoon with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the sunshine. Thank you so much.